results. Revenue at 3.17 billion euros, up 4.2% year over year.
Reporting third quarter sales up 4.8%. Franklin Golf Romeo.
The Fed policy will be driven by the pace of the data. Same policy will remain accommodative.
Futures off session low, still down about 1% on the day for a little more than 4 pennies.
A little bit of your history in the options trading business. I'd love to find out, for instance, how you ended up working at the European Options Exchange and how you got involved in options in the first place.
Well, I was working on the Chicago Board Options Exchange in the late 1970s when the Amsterdam Stock Exchange decided they wanted to have their own options exchange, the first one in Europe. Mm-hmm. And the Dutch decided rather than reinvent the wheel, they would clone the entire CBOE system, right down to the trading language being English. I don't know of many countries that would open an exchange domestically in a language other than their own. But that's what they chose to do. So the Amsterdam Stock Exchange actively recruited people from the CBOE, myself among them, to help establish the European Options Exchange, which, by the way, is now subsumed into Euronext. But that's what it was then.
Well, Randall, were you in the pit on the CBOE before you got recruited into the Amsterdam Options Exchange?
The system was a little different in the then. There was what they called board brokers instead of order book officials. And I was a board broker, so I was running the public order book.
I see.
And I was brought out to Amsterdam where I did that for them for a year or so until I went into trading. I traded in the pit on the EOE for 28 years. So I'm a floor trader in nerve and bones. That's basically
28 years. Wow.
Yes.
So you lived in Amsterdam for 28 years?
Yes, I have 2 passports. I speak fluent Dutch, the whole thing. And Here I am back in Chicago. I traded on the floor until the floor went screen-based. All of Europe is now screen-based in 2002. And since then, I've been more on the educational side of things and the risk management side of things.
I see. So, and what were there particular securities or indexes that you were trading on the EOE?
Yes, on the EOE, I traded primarily Royal Dutch Petroleum, heavy stock, big paying dividend stock, Philips Electronics, and then in the latter part of the last 5 or 6 years of my floor trading career, I moved into the Dutch version of the S&P, the AEX, a cash-settled European-style index option.
Now, is that?
And that's where I traded with the future as the hedge. I found I got a lot more bang for my buck not having to have a stock as the hedge, so I didn't have to run stock positions of 100,000 shares. I could just run futures. It was much more cost-effective.
So, is the AEX an exchange, an index comprised primarily of stocks in Amsterdam or all over Europe, or what?
No, it's a local Dutch index.
It's a local Dutch index. That's interesting.
Don't forget, there's Fortune 500 companies in the top 50. 13 of them are Dutch. Holland is yes.
Of
Holland
the top
is
50 companies on the S&P 500, 13 are Dutch?
No, the Fortune 500.
Fortune 500.
Yes.
That is an amazing fact that I certainly didn't know.
So it's a major index for a while there. Amsterdam was definitely in the top 3 or 4 exchange-listed volumes. But as I say, now it's all part of Euronext. So it's all been subsumed. And
how, what would you say would be, if any, the major differences between the way an options exchange works in Europe versus the United States?
Well, the difference has narrowed considerably. I mean, it used to be in Europe there was no Glass-Steagall Act, but now there isn't one here anymore either.
Right.
Other than that, as I say, the CBOE system was cloned by the Dutch, so it was quite very much the same. I would say the biggest difference is this, now that I think about it. The Dutch exchange had a huge retail volume, and that's because even though it is a democratic welfare system with a high income tax,
Right.
The Netherlands has no capital gains tax of any kind, 0.0.
Huh.
So a dentist, say, making 250,000 euros in his practice would have to pay 52% tax, but anything he made investing or trading or whatever you want to call it was tax-free.
I see. Interesting. So,
So it made it a huge retail exchange.
I see. So you're back in Chicago, the Windy City.
I am.
And what's the weather like in Amsterdam versus Chicago, by the way?
Oh, Chicago's much more extreme. The summers are hotter and the winters are colder.
Yeah. Does it snow in Amsterdam?
Very seldom. In the 28 year or the 30 years I lived there, the canals froze over maybe a half dozen times.
Wow. Well, the one time I was in that city, I was in the Grand Hotel Krasnopolsky, which I'm
Yeah,
not sure
right downtown.
Is it? Yeah, I was there when I was a kid. I was 14, 15 years old.
Oh, okay.
So I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't there, but you told me it is.
It's still
so,
there.
Good. That's great. That's great. Well, thanks for the history. I think people find that interesting, and I'd like to now sort of get into this trade. And
thank you for watching this clip of our Options Tribe webinar. The rest of the recording is available on OptionsTribe.com. I'm Seth Freudberg, and I've been hosting the Options Tribe since May of 2011. We've brought in options experts from all over the world to make excellent presentations to our members. So go right now to OptionsTribe.com to learn more about options education, or you can send me an email at sfreudberg@smbcap.com.